The big meeting room was full of tension. 12 different alien races sat around a huge crystal table. They were all here because the humans had asked for this emergency meeting. For 3 months, they had been trying to make peace deals about who could build colonies in the Outer Rim space areas. The talks were not going well. Ambassador Lucas Martinez led the human team. He was a calm man with gray hair and steady eyes. Next to him sat General Patricia Sullivan, a tough military woman with short blonde hair. On his other side was Commander Ryan Brooks, a young diplomat with dark skin and a serious face. They all wore simple blue uniforms with the Earth symbol on their chest. Across the table sat the most powerful beings in space. The Zephyrian Queen Mother looked like a giant bug with golden wings and many eyes. Her mandibles clicked when she was angry or thinking. The void speakers were made of living crystal that changed colors when they talked. They glowed with soft light that hurt human eyes if you looked too long. The Keltharian war chiefs were huge, almost 3 meters tall with thick gray skin and 4 arms each. The Queen Mother clicked her mandibles in a dismissive way. Humans, your people have only been part of galactic politics for 200 years. You cannot expect the same rights as races that have lived for thousands of years. Lucas Martinez stood up slowly. He looked calm, but inside he was angry. Your Excellencies, we came here wanting to make fair deals. We have shown you detailed plans for sharing control of contested star systems. We want to work together on new colonies. The lead void speaker was a big crystal being that pulsed with condescending purple light. Young races must learn where they belong. The Outer Rim territories have been under our protection for 3,000 years. General Sullivan's jaw got tight as she watched the alien leaders look at each other with knowing expressions. She realized these were not real negotiations. This was a show to put humans in their proper place, which the aliens thought was at the bottom. Commander Brooks leaned forward. His voice was steady, but cold. Let me understand this correctly. You want us to abandon 17 colonies that we spent decades building. You want us to give up our mining rights in the Titan Nebula. And you want us to accept only 10% of all future expansion efforts. Those are our terms, the Keltharian chief warlord growled. His huge body cast dark shadows across the room. His 4 arms moved as he spoke, showing his massive claws. Accept them, or face the consequences of fighting against us. The room became completely silent. Every alien representative expected the humans to give up eventually. This is what younger species always did when faced with overwhelming galactic opposition. The older races had done this dance many times before. A young species would demand equality, the elders would refuse, and eventually the young ones would accept whatever scraps they were offered. Instead, Lucas Martinez gathered his papers, closed his briefcase, and stood up. Then I am afraid we have nothing more to discuss. The Queen Mother's many eyes widened in surprise. You cannot simply leave. These negotiations affect the stability of 3 entire sectors. Billions of beings depend on the trade routes and peace treaties we are discussing. Watch us, General, Sullivan replied, standing up with her colleagues. Her voice was firm and angry. Humanity has survived ice ages that killed most life on our planet. We have survived world wars that nearly destroyed our entire civilization. We have survived asteroids from space that could have wiped out our species. We did not crawl out of Earth's gravity well just to bow down to bullies wearing crowns. Alien leaders began to look worried. This was not how these meetings usually went. Young species were supposed to be grateful for any attention from the galactic powers. They were supposed to accept whatever terms they were given. As the human team walked toward the chamber exit, the void speaker's crystal body flashed urgent red patterns. This is madness. You are condemning your species to isolation from all galactic society. Or worse, we could declare you enemies of the galactic peace. Lucas Martinez stopped at the big door. He looked back over his shoulder at the 12 species of galactic powers. His expression was calm, but his eyes were cold as winter. Your Excellencies, you seem to have forgotten something important about humans. He smiled, but it was not a warm smile. It was the smile of a predator showing its teeth. We have never been particularly good at accepting no for an answer. We are the species that looked at an ocean and built ships to cross it. We looked at the sky and built machines to fly through it. We looked at the moon and decided to walk on it. When someone tells us something is impossible, we tend to take that as a personal challenge. The massive chamber doors began to close behind the human delegation. The sound echoed through the huge room like thunder. As the doors sealed, shut with a deep resonant sound, 12 species of galactic powers were left staring at each other in stunned silence. The Queen Mother was the first to speak. Her voice was quiet and worried. "What have we done?" The Keltharian chief warlord shifted uncomfortably in his massive chair. "We have given them the same treatment we give all young species. They will be back within a month begging for our terms." But the Void Speaker Collective hummed with uncertain patterns of light. Their crystalline forms had analyzed human behavior patterns for months during these negotiations. Analysis indicates this species does not follow standard behavioral patterns. When pressured, they do not submit. They adapt. The Queen Mother clicked her mandibles nervously. "Surely they cannot survive without galactic trade and protection. They are just one species on a handful of worlds." "That," said the lead Void Speaker, its crystal form pulsing with worried blue light, "may be the first of many assumptions we are about to discover were wrong." In the corridor outside, the human delegation walked in silence until they were sure they could not be overheard. Then General Sullivan turned to her colleagues. "Well, gentlemen, I hope you have a plan, because we just declared independence from the entire galaxy." Ambassador Martinez nodded. "We do. It is time to show these ancient powers what a young species can accomplish when they stop asking for permission and start taking action." Commander Brooks smiled for the first time in months. "I cannot wait to see their faces when they realize what we are really capable of." Behind them, the chamber doors remained sealed. Inside, the most powerful beings in the galaxy were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous opponent is the one who has nothing left to lose. 3 weeks after the humans walked away from the peace talks, their response sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Every human ambassador left alien worlds. Every trade deal was canceled. Every joint business project was ended with exactly 72 hours' notice. Admiral Kate Harrison stood on the bridge of the human ship UES Defiance. She watched as the last human evacuation ships left Zephyrian space. The ships were full of human families, workers, and soldiers who had lived on alien worlds for years. Now they were all coming home. "All civilian people are clear of the Arcturus system, Admiral," reported Lieutenant Jake Murphy, her communications officer. He was a young man with red hair and freckles who had joined the Space Navy right out of college. "Confirmed. Send the E signal to all fleet commanders. Operation Silent Treatment is now starting." The withdrawal was not chaotic or panicked. It was organized, efficient, and completely thorough. Human colonies in disputed territories did not abandon their worlds. Instead, they went dark. Communication arrays powered down, trade beacons stopped broadcasting. Entire star systems simply disappeared from galactic commerce overnight. The process was like watching a massive organism methodically cutting off all contact with the outside world. Human cargo ships stopped making deliveries. Human passenger liners stopped carrying alien tourists. Human mining operations ceased all exports. Within days, the economic impact began to ripple across the galaxy. On the Galactic Council homeworld of Nexus Prime, emergency sessions met every day as the economic damage became clear. The beautiful planet with its floating cities and crystal spires had never seen such panic among its leaders. The Keltharian trade minister paced nervously in front of the assembled representatives. His forearms moved in agitated gestures as he delivered his report. The humans handled 23% of all shipping between star sectors. Without their transport fleet, delivery times have tripled across the outer territories. The Zephyrian colony worlds are already reporting food shortages. The Void Speaker Collective hummed with worried vibrations. Their crystal forms flickered with anxious orange light. "This is unprecedented. No species has ever voluntarily cut themselves off from galactic society. The economic interdependence was supposed to prevent this kind of action." Queen Mother Zix-9 clicked her mandibles with increasing anxiety. Our intelligence services report something even more disturbing. The humans are not just withdrawing, they are building something. Massive industrial complexes are under construction in their core systems. We are detecting energy signatures, unlike anything in our databases. The truth was more alarming than they realized. In the Sol system and humanity's oldest colonies, a transformation was happening that would change the balance of galactic power forever. Dr. Amanda Foster stood in the main control room of the Prometheus Research Initiative. She was a brilliant scientist with brown hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Around her, holographic displays showed construction progress across 17 star systems. "The new production facilities are ahead of schedule," she reported to the assembled military leadership. "We will have full manufacturing capability within 18 months. General Carl Rodriguez studied the projections with grim satisfaction. He was an older man with gray hair and scars from the border wars with space pirates. And the new ship designs? The prototypes exceeded all expectations. "We are not just building a fleet, General. We are building an entirely new class of starship, something the galaxy has never seen before." The human ships under construction were unlike anything in galactic history. They were smaller than traditional warships but packed with advanced technology. Each ship could operate with a crew of 12 instead of the thousands needed for alien dreadnoughts. They carried automated manufacturing systems that could build replacement parts or even entire new ships using raw materials. Meanwhile, in the cold darkness of the Kuiper Belt beyond Pluto, something even more significant was taking shape. The human facility had a simple designation: Deep Strike Command. Its purpose was anything but simple. Commander Lisa Turner monitored the installation of the final strategic components. She was a former fighter pilot who had volunteered for the most classified project in human history. How long until the network is fully operational? Her chief engineer, Dr. Peter Chang, was a genius who had designed most of the system's core components. He consulted his tablet with tired eyes. 6 months for full deployment. Once online, we will have real-time intelligence gathering capability across every major alien system simultaneously. The network they were building was revolutionary. Using quantum entanglement communication and advanced stealth technology, humanity would be able to monitor galactic military movements instantly. They would know about alien fleet deployments before the aliens themselves had finished planning them. The galactic powers had made a fundamental mistake in their calculations. They assumed humanity would eventually return to the negotiating table, weakened by isolation and economic pressure. They thought humans were just like every other young species that had been forced to accept inferior terms. Instead, they had given humanity exactly what it needed most: time to prepare and motivation to exceed every previous limitation. Back on Earth, President Jonathan Hayes met with his top advisors in a secure bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room was filled with the best military minds and scientists humanity had to offer. "Status report on Project Renaissance," the president requested. General Patricia Sullivan, who had returned from the failed peace talks, stood to address the group. "All human personnel have been successfully evacuated from alien space. Our industrial capacity has increased by 400% in the past month. We are manufacturing advanced technology at a rate the galaxy has never seen." "And our defensive capabilities?" asked the President, Admiral Harrison, participating by secure video link. From the Defiance answered, "Every human system now has automated defense platforms. They can engage multiple targets simultaneously and coordinate attacks across vast distances. More importantly, they can reproduce themselves using local asteroid material." Dr. Foster added, her report, "We have also achieved breakthroughs in energy production and resource extraction. We are no longer dependent on galactic trade for any essential materials. In fact, we are producing surplus resources we could trade if we chose to." The president nodded gravely. "How long before the galactic powers realize what we have accomplished?" "Based on their current intelligence capabilities," Commander Brooks replied. "They will figure out the scope of our transformation approximately 6 months from now. By then it will be too late for them to stop us." Outside Earth's atmosphere, Massive construction projects continued around the clock. Orbital shipyards worked constantly, producing vessels that combined human innovation with resources extracted from the asteroid belt. Automated mining ships stripped entire asteroids down to their component atoms, feeding the raw materials into manufacturing systems that never stopped working. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying. Streams of light connected dozens of orbital platforms as materials flowed between construction sites. New ships emerged from the shipyards every few hours, each one more advanced than anything the galaxy had seen. But perhaps most importantly, humanity was not just building weapons. They were building the infrastructure for a completely new kind of civilization, a civilization that could exist independently of galactic society while possessing the technological capability to defend that independence. The alien intelligence services, limited by their traditional thinking and ancient bureaucracies, completely missed the scope of what was happening. They saw industrial construction and assumed humans were simply building more of the same old technology. They failed to understand that humanity was not just building better ships and weapons. They were building a future where the old rules of galactic politics would no longer apply. The withdrawal was complete. Humanity had successfully cut all ties with galactic civilization. But unlike other species that had tried isolation in the past, humans had not withdrawn in defeat. They had withdrawn to transform themselves into something the galaxy was not prepared to face. 6 months into humanity's self-imposed isolation, the first cracks in galactic stability began to show. Trade routes that had operated smoothly for centuries suddenly collapsed. Border disputes erupted between species that had lived peacefully together for generations. The delicate balance of power that had kept peace for over 1,000 years was falling apart. The problem was simple but devastating. Humanity had been the neutral party in countless disputes across the galaxy. Human merchant ships had carried goods between hostile species. Human diplomats had solved problems between alien governments. Human military patrols had kept peace in contested areas. Now all of that was gone. In his private rooms aboard the Nexus Prime orbital station, Keltharian Chief Warlord Grax Tool reviewed intelligence reports with growing worry. His aide, a younger warrior named Keth Mar, brought him the latest updates. The young Keltharian had all 4 arms full of data tablets. The Zephyrian border worlds are preparing their defense fleets, Keth Mar reported. They believe the Void Speakers are planning to claim the abandoned trade routes. Grax Tool's massive claws scraped against the metal desk, leaving deep scratches. And what are the Void Speakers doing? They have moved their civilian populations away from 3 frontier systems. Our analysts believe they are preparing for armed conflict. The old warrior found the irony bitter. The humans had kept galactic peace simply by existing as a neutral party in countless disputes. Their merchant fleets, diplomatic corps, and military presence had served as a stabilizing force across dozens of regions, where different species competed for resources and territory. Now they were gone, and the galaxy was remembering why it had needed that stability in the first place. Ancient hatred between species was surfacing again. Old territorial claims were being renewed. The great galactic peace was crumbling, but the real shock was yet to come. The revelation arrived during what should have been a routine intelligence briefing. Void Speaker, Prime Node Zeta-7 materialized before the emergency council session. Its crystalline form was pulsing with urgent amber patterns that indicated extreme distress. Council members, we have detected massive gravitational anomalies in the restricted zones surrounding human space, it announced. The mechanical voice that emerged from the crystal being was higher pitched than usual, showing stress. The chamber erupted in worried murmurs. Queen Mother Zix-9 leaned forward, her many compound eyes reflecting the chamber's lighting. Explain what you mean by gravitational anomalies. Our deep space monitoring arrays have recorded energy signatures consistent with the construction of artificial stellar objects. The humans appear to be building structures around their stars that are affecting local spacetime. The assembled representatives fell silent. Artificial stellar objects meant technology beyond anything the galaxy had seen before. Most species could build orbital platforms and space stations. Some could construct massive space habitats, but actually building structures that affected the gravity of entire star systems was theoretical science at best. The energy requirements would be impossible, protested the Zephyrian science minister, her wings buzzing with agitation. No known power source could support such construction. The humans appear to be harvesting energy directly from their stars, Zeta 7 replied. They have constructed what can only be described as stellar engineering on a scale we did not believe possible. Before anyone could respond, the main communication system activated. General Patricia Sullivan's image appeared on the giant view screen. She was broadcasting from an undisclosed location somewhere in human space. Her expression was professional, but carried an undercurrent of absolute confidence. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice formal but strong. I bring greetings from the Terran Federation and an update on our current activities. She gestured, and the display behind her showed a three-dimensional map of human space. Dozens of star systems were connected by glowing lines of light, forming a complex network of installations and defensive positions. The scope was breathtaking. Over the past months, humanity has completed the most ambitious engineering project in our species' history. We call it the Aegis Network. It is a fully integrated defense and production system spanning 47 star systems. The alien representatives stared in horrified fascination as the true scope of human construction became clear. What they were seeing was not just impressive. It was impossible according to everything they thought they knew about galactic engineering capabilities. Each node in the network is capable of manufacturing and deploying autonomous defense platforms faster than any known fleet can travel between systems. The entire network operates as a single coordinated entity, with response times measured in seconds rather than hours or days. Chief Warlord Graxtol found his voice first, though it cracked with disbelief. This is impossible. The resource requirements alone would bankrupt entire star systems. The energy needs would drain multiple stars. How could you possibly build something of this scale? Sullivan's smile was coldly professional, like a teacher explaining simple math to a confused student. You are thinking like beings who rely on traditional trade and resource extraction methods. We have learned to think differently. The display shifted to show massive orbital installations surrounding a bright yellow star. The structures were enormous, clearly visible even from the great distance of the monitoring satellites that had recorded the images. Solar harvesting, on an industrial scale, automated asteroid mining throughout entire star systems, and self-replicating construction systems that build more of themselves as they work. We have moved beyond your economic limitations entirely. The implications struck the Council like a physical blow. Humanity had not just withdrawn from galactic society. They had evolved beyond it. They had solved problems that the greatest minds in the galaxy considered impossible. But Sullivan was not finished. The Aegis network is also equipped with what we call quantum monitoring capabilities. We have real-time surveillance of all military movements within 500 light-years of human space. We know the location, composition, and intended destination of every military vessel in this region of the galaxy. Queen Mother Zix-9 made a sound like a strangled gasp. You are spying on our internal military operations? We are monitoring potential threats to human security, Sullivan corrected. Since several species have been discussing preemptive strikes against human space, we considered this a reasonable precaution. The chamber fell into stunned silence. Not only had humanity built an impossible defense network, but they knew about the secret military discussions that had been taking place among the galactic powers. Dr. Amanda Foster appeared on the screen, next to Sullivan. I should also mention our breakthrough in manufacturing technology. Our automated systems can now convert raw stellar material directly into finished products. We can literally turn sunlight into starships. The void speaker. Collective hummed with patterns of light that indicated complete confusion and fear. This violates known physical laws. Matter cannot be converted with such efficiency. Actually, it can, Dr. Foster replied with a gentle smile. You just need to understand quantum mechanics at a deeper level than your species have achieved. We have had some advantages in theoretical physics research. Commander Ryan Brooks joined the transmission. The Terran Federation would like to make our position clear to the Galactic Council. We have no interest in conquest or expansion beyond our current territories. We simply want to be left alone to develop our civilization in peace. But, he continued, his voice becoming harder, any attempt to attack human space or interfere with human development will be met with immediate and overwhelming response. The Aegis network is not just a defensive system. It can project force anywhere in the galaxy within hours. The transmission ended, leaving the Galactic Council in shocked silence. The beings who had dismissed humanity as an inexperienced young species now faced the reality that humans had become the most advanced civilization in known space. The balance of galactic power had not just shifted, it had been completely overturned, and the species that had forced this transformation were the same ones who had been too arrogant to offer humans a fair deal in simple peace negotiations. In the silence that followed, Chief Warlord Grax Tool spoke the words that everyone was thinking. What have we done? The news of humanity's technological leap sent waves of panic through the established galactic order. Emergency military meetings were held in every major capital as alien powers struggled to understand what they now faced. The comfortable certainties of 1,000 years of galactic politics had been shattered in a single transmission. Admiral Kate Harrison stood in the command center of Aegis Station Alpha, the primary control hub for humanity's new defense network. She watched real-time displays showing galactic military movements with calm interest. They are scared, she observed to her staff. 11 different species are mobilizing their fleets. They are talking about joining forces for a coordinated attack. Commander Ryan Brooks, now serving as Director of Strategic Intelligence, studied his reports with practiced eyes. Our deep space monitoring arrays are picking up unusual activity in the Keltharian home system. They are withdrawing their frontier garrisons. This usually indicates they are preparing for a major assault. Let them come, Harrison replied, with deadly calm. It is time they learned what happens when you underestimate human engineering capabilities. The Galactic Council's emergency war planning session was a study in barely controlled panic. 12 species that had rarely agreed on anything for centuries now found themselves united by a single terrifying realization. They had awakened something they could not control. The massive war room on Nexus Prime buzzed with desperate activity. Military advisors from every major species worked frantically to develop strategies for fighting an enemy that had technological advantages they could not fully understand. The human fleet composition makes no sense according to traditional military doctrine, reported the Zephyrian military analyst, her golden wings buzzing with extreme agitation. Their ships are smaller than our dreadnoughts but require only minimal crews. Some appear to be completely autonomous with no life signs at all. Void Speaker Prime Node Beta 3 projected complex tactical assessments into the holographic display at the center of the room. Analysis indicates they have prioritized speed, automation, and unprecedented manufacturing capability over traditional firepower approaches. They can replace combat losses faster than we can inflict them. Queen Mother. Zix9 voiced what everyone was thinking, but no one wanted to say out loud. They are not planning to fight a traditional war. They are planning to make war itself irrelevant through overwhelming technological superiority. The truth was even more complex than the alien powers realized. Humanity had not just built a better military, they had fundamentally reimagined the entire nature of interstellar conflict based on their unique approach to problem solving. Dr. Amanda Foster stood before the Terran Federation Strategic Council in a secure bunker deep beneath the Swiss Alps. She was explaining the principles behind their revolutionary approach to warfare. Traditional galactic warfare relies on massive ships with large crews and prolonged supply chains vulnerable to disruption. We have eliminated all three variables from the equation. The holographic display showed a detailed comparison between a typical alien dreadnought and humanity's new Sentinel-class vessels. The differences were striking and fundamental. Our ships are 60% smaller, require crews of 12 instead of 3,000, and carry enough raw materials to construct replacement parts or entirely new ships using onboard fabrication systems. Each vessel is essentially a self-contained military-industrial complex. President Jonathan Hayes leaned forward with intense interest. And the autonomous capabilities we have been hearing about? Each ship contains an artificial intelligence system capable of independent strategic thinking at superhuman levels. They can coordinate attacks across multiple star systems simultaneously, adapt to new threats in real time, and learn from every engagement to improve their effectiveness. The president nodded grimly, understanding the implications. How long before they realize we are not building an army in the traditional sense? Based on their current intelligence-gathering methods and historical military thinking patterns, they will figure out that we are building an entirely new form of military ecosystem approximately 3 hours after the first engagement begins. By then, it will be far too late. The moment of truth came sooner than anyone expected. A Keltharian deep space patrol consisting of 3 heavy cruisers encountered what appeared to be a single human vessel in the neutral zone between human and alien territories. The patrol commander, Captain Vex Tor, was an experienced warrior, eager to prove that human ships were not invincible, despite all the frightening reports. He had volunteered for this reconnaissance mission, specifically hoping for such an encounter. "Target the human vessel and prepare to engage," he ordered his crew. "It is time to show these upstart humans that they are not as advanced as they pretend to be." The engagement began at 14:30 Galactic Standard Time and lasted exactly 17 minutes and 34 seconds. What happened during those 17 minutes would change galactic military thinking forever. The human vessel, designated HSV Prometheus, did not fight in any recognizable pattern. Instead of exchanging fire with the Keltharian ships, it seemed to dance around them, while deploying clouds of what appeared to be metallic dust. The Keltharian weapons scored several direct hits on the human ship, causing visible damage to its hull. Captain Vex Tor thought he had achieved victory when the human vessel appeared to lose power and begin drifting. That was when the impossible happened. The metallic dust that the human ship had been releasing began to glow and move with obvious purpose. Within minutes, the dust clouds had formed into geometric patterns that attached themselves to the Keltharian ships. The alien vessels found their systems being invaded and converted by microscopic machines that rebuilt their technology from the inside out. When the engagement ended, the human vessel had vanished completely, but in its place were 6 identical ships, apparently constructed from the converted wreckage of the Keltharian patrol vessels themselves. The rescue team that responded to the patrol's emergency beacon found something that defied all understanding: a physics and military strategy. The 3 Keltharian ships were intact but completely transformed. Their hulls bore human markings. Their systems ran on human technology. Even their internal atmosphere had been converted to human-compatible conditions. But most disturbing of all were the crew members. The Keltharian warriors were unharmed but showed no memory of the engagement. They believed they were human crew members who had always served aboard these vessels. Medical scans revealed that their brain chemistry had been subtly altered to remove all traces of their original memories and identities. The rescue team's final transmission sent chills through every military command center in the galaxy. They are not just fighting back. They are converting our own resources against us. Every ship we send makes them stronger. Every warrior we lose becomes one of theirs. The news reached the Galactic Council within hours. The emergency session that followed was unlike anything in recorded galactic history. For the first time in over a millennium, the most powerful military forces in known space were genuinely afraid. Chief Warlord Grax Tool paced the chamber like a caged animal, his 4 massive arms gesturing wildly. "This is not warfare as we understand it. This is something entirely new. They have found a way to turn our strength against us." The Void Speaker Collective hummed with panicked harmonics that hurt the ears of organic species in the chamber. The implications are terrifying. If they can convert matter at the molecular level during combat, then no conventional defense is possible. Queen Mother Zix-9 clicked her mandibles in patterns that indicated extreme distress. The patrol crew, members believe they are human. They show complete loyalty to human command structures. This suggests the conversion process affects consciousness itself, not just technology. The chamber fell silent as the full implications sank in. Humanity had not just achieved military superiority. They had developed the capability to transform their enemies into allies at the most fundamental level possible. Dr. Amanda Foster's image appeared on the main communication screen. Her expression was calm and professional, showing no satisfaction or cruelty despite humanity's overwhelming victory. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, the recent engagement was not an attack on our part. Your patrol vessels entered human space and initiated hostile action. Our response was purely defensive in nature. She paused to let this sink in before continuing. However, I should clarify that what you witnessed was merely one of our standard defensive protocols. We have many others that are far more comprehensive in scope. The chamber erupted in frightened voices, but Dr. Foster continued speaking over them. The Terran Federation wishes to make our position absolutely clear. We have no interest in conquest or expansion. We simply want to develop our civilization in peace, but any further acts of aggression will be met with responses that are immediately proportional and permanently effective. The transmission ended, leaving the Galactic Council to contemplate a new and terrifying reality. They had not just lost a minor border skirmish. They had discovered that humanity possessed the capability to end galactic civilization as they knew it. The age of alien dominance was over. The failed attack on the human vessel marked the end of the old galactic order. Within days, every major power received the same message from Terran Federation Command. The message was simple, direct, and absolutely terrifying. Any further acts of aggression will be met with immediate and proportional response. The response came in the form of a demonstration that would be remembered for centuries. At exactly 1200 hours Galactic Standard Time, every military installation in Zephyrian space went dark for precisely 60 seconds. Weapon systems, shields, communications, life support systems, defensive satellites, and even personal equipment simply stopped working. Then, just as suddenly, everything powered back up and resumed normal operation without any explanation. The demonstration affected over 300 military bases across 17 star systems simultaneously. No human ships were detected in the area. No energy signatures were recorded. No attack was launched. Yet somehow, humanity had reached across vast distances of space and simply turned off an entire civilization's military capability, like flipping a light switch. The message was unmistakable and crystal clear. Humanity could disable their defenses at will. If they wanted to destroy Zephyrian civilization, they could do so without even sending a single ship. Queen Mother Zix-9 stood in her command center, watching her technicians frantically try to understand what had happened. "How did they do this?" she demanded. "How did they affect our systems across multiple star systems without any detectable method of transmission?" Her chief scientist, an elderly Zephyrian with decades of experience, could only spread his wings in a gesture of complete confusion. "Your Majesty, according to everything we know about physics and technology, what just occurred should be impossible. Yet it clearly happened." Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. The most advanced civilizations in known space had been casually demonstrated to be helpless children in comparison to human technological capability. Ambassador Lucas Martinez returned to the Galactic Council chamber for the first time in over a year. The same magnificent room where alien leaders had once dismissed human requests with arrogant superiority now felt different. The representatives who had been so confident in their power now waited in nervous silence as he took his position at the speaking podium. The human ambassador looked exactly the same as before. Same calm expression, same professional demeanor, same simple blue uniform. But everything else had changed completely. Now when he spoke, every being in the chamber hung on his words. "Esteemed colleagues," he began, his tone respectful but carrying absolute authority that had not been there before. "I trust the past year has given you sufficient time to reconsider humanity's position in galactic affairs." The chamber was silent except for the nervous clicking of Zephyrian mandibles and the anxious humming of void speaker crystals. No one wanted to be the first to speak and risk saying something that might anger the humans. The Terran Federation would like to propose new terms for our relationship with the galactic community. Martinez activated a holographic display that showed a comprehensive proposal addressing every major galactic challenge. Chief Warlord Graxtool found his voice, though it lacked all of its previous arrogance and aggression. What are your demands? His forearms trembled slightly as he spoke. Martinez smiled, and this time it was not cold or threatening. It was genuine and warm, like a teacher pleased with students who had finally learned an important lesson. We do not make demands. We make offers. The holographic display showed detailed plans for trade optimization, resource distribution systems, territorial dispute resolution, and coordinated defense against external threats. The scope was breathtaking in its comprehensiveness and generosity. Humanity offers to serve as neutral arbitrators for all territorial disputes, using our advanced analysis capabilities to ensure fair outcomes for all parties. We will provide manufacturing technology to help underdeveloped systems reach their full potential. We will maintain open and secure trade routes throughout the galaxy using our automated shipping systems. Martinez paused to let this information sink in before continuing. In exchange, we ask for one simple thing: respect. We want to be treated as equals in galactic affairs, with our territorial claims and development rights recognized. Queen Mother Zix-9 leaned forward cautiously, her many eyes reflecting confusion and disbelief. And if we refuse these offers? Then, you continue exactly as you are, Martinez replied with complete sincerity. We will maintain our peaceful isolation, and you will continue to manage galactic affairs without our interference. The choice is entirely yours to make. The Void Speaker Collective pulsed with confused patterns of light. You are not demanding tribute payments, territorial concessions, military submissions to human authority? Why would we? Martinez asked, with genuine puzzlement. We have already proven that we do not need anything from you that we cannot create ourselves more efficiently. But we would prefer to be neighbors and trading partners rather than strangers living in isolation. This was perhaps the most shocking revelation of all. Humanity possessed the power to conquer the entire galaxy, but they were offering partnership instead. They could demand submission, but they were requesting cooperation. They could rule through fear, but they preferred to lead through respect. The transformation that followed was unlike anything in recorded galactic history. Species that had been enemies for millennia found their ancient conflicts resolved by human arbitrators who had no stake in the outcomes except fairness and stability. The Keltharian-Zephyrian border dispute that had caused 3 wars over the past 500 years was settled in 2 weeks. Human analysis systems identified resource distribution patterns that allowed both species to prosper without competing for the same territories. Trade routes that had been disrupted by piracy and political conflicts for centuries were restored and protected by automated human patrol systems. Commercial ships could travel safely across the galaxy for the first time in living memory. Underdeveloped worlds received technology packages that advanced their civilizations by thousands of years, almost overnight. Entire species that had struggled with basic resource extraction suddenly found themselves capable of stellar engineering projects. But perhaps most importantly, the galaxy gained something it had never truly possessed before: genuine stability, based on cooperation rather than the threat of mutual destruction. Admiral Kate Harrison stood on the observation deck of New Geneva Station, humanity's primary diplomatic and trade hub. She watched ships from dozens of species dock peacefully at human-built facilities. Keltharian cargo haulers worked alongside Zephyrian passenger liners. Void Speaker research vessels shared docking space with vessels from species that had been their enemies just months before. Her aide, now Captain Lisa Turner, joined her at the large viewing window. "Any regrets about how things turned out?" Turner asked. Harrison considered the question while watching a group of young beings from 5 different species work together to load cargo containers. About walking away from those peace talks? Not for a single second. Sometimes you have to be willing to stand completely alone before others will respect your right to stand with them as equals. She turned from the window, her expression thoughtful and satisfied. Besides, the galaxy needed to learn something important about humanity. We do not conquer worlds because we have the power to do so. We build better ones because we believe. It is the right thing to do. The final entry in Ambassador Martinez's official report to the Terran Federation Council summarized the new reality with simple clarity. The galactic powers spent millennia believing that strength came from the ability to destroy their enemies. Humanity has taught them that true power comes from the ability to create solutions that benefit everyone. They are finally ready to learn. In his private journal, Martinez added a more personal observation. We did not set out to become the leaders of galactic civilization. We simply refused to accept that being young meant accepting inequality. In the end, our stubborn insistence on fairness transformed not just our own capabilities, but the moral foundation of the entire galaxy. Across the stars, from the oldest civilizations to the newest colonies, a new age was beginning. For the first time in recorded galactic history, the weapons of war fell silent not because of fear or exhaustion, but because of hope. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy through superior firepower. They had won it through superior vision of what galactic civilization could become when built on principles of cooperation, respect, and shared prosperity. The species that had once dismissed humans as inexperienced children had learned the most important lesson in galactic history. Sometimes the youngest voice in the room is the one with the wisest words to speak. And in the end, humanity had not just walked away from failed peace talks. They had walked into a future where peace talks were no longer necessary, because they had become the peace themselves.